Good evening, and welcome to another ill-considered version of Diatribes from the voice of Doom. Now here's your rational and reasonable host, voice of Doom. That was the sound of our so-called American justice system blowing up once and for all, which should happen soon. I don't see the point in delaying it. It's over. I'm going to talk about justice again and the lack thereof. Paraphrasing the time-worn quote, "The wheels of justice are turning on us slowly, but will grind us very fine." And that's the way it is, so we may as well give up on everything that we ever thought was reasonable and just and rational and fair-minded in what used to be this country, and resign ourselves to anarchy in every way. Anarchy in the streets, criminal anarchy, dog eat dog, literally, and anarchy in what used to be this government. Because today was Monday, and it was July 31st, and there were supposed to be bombshells happening all over the place, because this so-called Devon Archer, best friend and buddy, pal of the no-account son, was going to blow the whistle and tell from first-hand account all the things that went down with Petri Dish and his entire crime syndicate. And yeah, okay, I'm a right-wing nut. I'm assuming that he's a godfather, that he had the wherewithal and the acumen to put together a criminal syndicate of vast proportions, total misinformation and disinformation. But everybody's sick of it anyway. I haven't talked to one person in these parts that hold out any hope for what used to be America. None. And the ones that do are just living in a dream world because they're 85 years old and they don't know any better. They don't know how guilty they are either. But I was thinking about justice a little bit. And sometimes I actually think about things that everybody's forgotten about, because the mainstream M's don't want to talk about it, so we don't hear about it. We don't hear about this David DePape guy rotting in jail, awaiting his trial for the hammering of a husband of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Now, I think if anyone else was in the docket, this case would have been adjudicated already, because they have ample evidence he was caught dead to rights in the act hammering a public official. Now, why is it taking so long? Why do they drag it out? You can't even find the information on the internet. And I've looked at major outlets, not just conspiracy theorists. They don't want to say that he's still in jail, but I know he must be. Because if he's not in jail, then he was let go. And I think they would love to let him go. They would love to spirit him out of prison and have him sent back to Canada quietly and have this whole thing be brushed under the rug. And it occurred to me that one of the main reasons they want to make this whole thing go away is they don't want a public trial, because if they have a public trial, then this perpetrator will have his defense. And God knows what he'll say. How did two guys end up in their underwear? And how did one guy get allowed to make a phone call? And how did the police come just in time to witness a hammering? And then the trial's taking forever. The hammering was in October. He was arraigned on Halloween. His trial for the federal charges is not set till November of this year, so 13 months later. And they haven't even set up the dates for the state charges yet. So they are hoping something might happen between now and then so that they don't have to have a public trial. That's obvious, but it also occurred to me that if this DePape guy had been a MAGA Republican who voted for Orangey and has been seen everywhere protesting abortion clinics or what have you, he would have been on trial already, and they would make sure that that trial lasted for months. And that's very easy to do because we don't have a called an adversarial system in our justice so-called system. One side argues for one side and one side argues for the other. You are entitled to representation. It's in your Miranda rights. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed for you. They are supposed to advocate for you. Now, it's obvious in this day and age that we have a one-sided system. It's not adversarial. They're both on the same side. They will work together. I'll give you an example after I finish about how if this DePape wasn't a left-wing nut, Green Party nudist, if he was a right-winger, they would have already had him on trial and they would drag it out until the cows came home. They would come up with every bit of evidence. But it's not, so they're going to have to drag this out until he's found hanging in his cell. And that should happen within the next few weeks to a month. But where do the two sides work together in concert in a courtroom? The defense and the prosecutors are on the same team to make something happen. Well, let's see. I think there was something where the no-account son was brought up on charges of getting a gun under false pretenses and some tax charges. And the prosecution and the defense worked up a real sweetheart deal to get him off with a slap on the wrist, which wasn't even going to be that bad. A light tap on the wrist. There you go. I'll do it again. There are parts of the justice system that still seem to function. Otherwise, we'd be in a really much bigger mess than we are. If every single facet, every single judge and prosecutor and lawyer were corrupt to the bone, we would be in real trouble. We would be in trouble of the common clay being dragged out and put into trucks and dragged off to a concentration camp with no habeas corpus. They will be the habeas corpus. Nothing to be done about it because there's no adversarial system anymore. There's no justice. There hasn't been justice in a long time. But let's go back to the no-account son. A judge who was appointed by Orangey, so you can already discount her and call her a MAGA. She's a MAGA Democrat. But that's beside the point. She's a fair-minded person. I don't care if I'm leaning this way politically. The law is the law. Luckily, we still have people that read. And this judge read. Now, there's going to come a day after the conflagration and everything's rubble where people in judicial offices won't be able to read. So they won't know anything about how to adjudicate the law. But for now, this judge can read, and she did read. And she read a few things that raised her eyebrows. And one was, by signing this document, you are absolving the no-account son from everything he's ever done or ever will do. A blanket pardon for everything, that you will never be found guilty. You are, what's the word? Immune. You have immunity to every charge that you ever did. If we find out anything It can't be used against you. If you do anything else again, it can't be used against you. So bestowing on this no-account son pretty much the authorization to be a monarch. L'état c'est moi. L'état c'est Hunter. That's great. That's just what we need to do. So this judge was smart enough to see the fine print, and she's questioned both sides, and both sides started to go at each other like two dogs in a cage. And now they have to hammer out a new agreement, which is kind of weak. If I was the judge, I'd say, we're going to do things right this minute. Anyway, the no-account son has to plead not guilty to all those charges and start all over again. And I'm sure they'll have a sweetheart deal made up again without the immunity, because it doesn't matter. As Devon Archer spoke behind closed doors, which I think they should do that from now on. No more public hearings. Forget that. They're sickening. The only thing they should have public hearings for is to induce vomiting for people who have food poisoning. They can keep it in the hospital and here, watch this, because I do not want to watch them anymore. Either side, 5 minutes. And then the D's all turn it on Orangey. Well, we're talking about this issue. Well, it's all Orangey's fault. Everybody's sick of it. Everybody in these parts of what used to be the country don't have any hope for anything. And we're just going to ride out the rest of this crap until the conflagration comes, which should come soon, and I hope it does. Because my microcosm sucks too, so if the whole world blows up, boo-hoo. I'm a Buddhist. It means nothing to me. We were a failure on this planet. So obvious. Come on, look at history. Humankind's been an utter, total failure. And that's just the way it is. Justice is dead. Long live corruption. Long live people getting away with everything. And once we get to that point, there's no point in worrying about, people should just have their own inner morality and say, even though the whole world is in anarchy, I am not going to loot. I'm not going to take what's not mine. I'm not going to eat people. We've had famines before, and some people chose to starve to death rather than cannibalize. So I don't want to be part of that. I don't think I said a whole heck of a lot, and I think I said quite a bit. Because justice is dead. The wheels of justice are slowly turning on us and will grind us very finely into dust. So you can quote me on that, and I'll leave it there. I'm only going to be able to do a few more diatribes. I got to send this computer back to Benjamin. So I'll try to do a few and have them posted every 3 days or so that you guys don't get the DTs looking for my stuff. And I'll try to get back online later. But hopefully we get an EMP and we don't have to worry about any of that. So enjoy and have a pleasant evening. Still hot. Oh, thanks. Bye.